Both of you are from Karnataka or different part?
I'm from Maharashtra, Mumbai.
Oh, nice. Adjoining to us. Our headquarters is at Belgaum University.
Oh.
I was the special officer there as a research director and special officer.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, later after superannuation, I am in one of the college at Mangalore.
Oh,
Director research.
Oh, Mangalore is a nice place. Udupi.
You have visited, no, Subramaniam?
Bangalore, I had visited because Otis had a factory in Bangalore that is in Jigni.
Oh, Jigni Industrial Area.
Jigni. And Bangalore was the southern region headquarters for Otis. So I used to come very frequently in Bangalore.
Very nice, very nice. It is a Mangalore coastal area. Okay. Very nice place.
Yeah. Okay. I thought about it.
Yeah. Full of greenery.
Oh, lovely. I hope once the lockdown gets lifted, the travel.
Yeah,
we should be able to travel to India to see this place.
On the request of this GMIT, I am also helping them. They have asked me to join here as a director and innovation and research. Yeah. Thereby, I am just trying to help them.
Oh, lovely.
New education policy, policy establishments.
That's excellent. Excellent.
In fact, government of India is wonderful. Shobha, are we talking to Shobha?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Shobha, I have not seen, but I do see her communications.
Yes,
good.
Even I'm following you.
Thank you. Thank you. Shobha is from Davangere?
No, sir. I'm basically from Hubli. I live in Prague. Sorry, sir?
Which place you are from?
I am from Hubli, basically, but I've studied in GMIT, Davangere.
Yeah, somebody told me.
Yes, sir. And I live in Prague, Czech Republic.
Yeah, along with these our guests.
Our experts, yes.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful to all of you. Probably our...
Sir,
are you ready?
Sir, they are extending a... hello, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, sir. Shylesh Patel and their teams, they have extended a wonderful support for our IIC and all our innovation activities.
Good.
We must thank them all the time. Always.
She is an ambassador for GMIT for innovation. You can call her as ambassador through this.
Shall we begin, sir, then?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes.
We keep talking. All the best.
Thank you very much. Nice speaking to you. Nice interacting with you. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Over to keep.
Okay, shall we start, sir? Kirti, sir?
Yeah. Yeah, madam. We can start. Yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon to everyone. This is Nasrin Tajembi, Assistant Professor, Department of IS&E. It gives me immense pleasure to start this webinar on developing a product fit to market with blessings of Almighty. First and foremost, I would like to welcome the key speakers of today's webinar, Mr. V. Subramaniam, Director, Digital Technology, EMEA, Digital and Transformation, and Mr. Shylesh Patel, CEO and founder of Saptro, Prague, Czech Republic. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
I extend my warm welcome to host of today's program, Ms. Leena C. Nachappa, Director of Business Development, BPA Lab, Prague, Czech Republic, and Shobha Patil, Founder and Managing Director, BPA Labs, Prague, Czech Republic. Welcome you both, Shobha and Leena.
Thank you, Nasri.
I heartily welcome our beloved principal, Dr. Y. Vijay Kumar sir, to this webinar. I extend my warm welcome to Dr. Manjappa S., Director, Research and Innovation, GMIT Davangere. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
I also extend my warm welcome to Dr. Sunil Kumar BS, HOD, Department of Information Science and Engineering. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Nasri.
I extend my warm welcome to organizing.
Dr. Sunil?
Sir, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Somebody was telling that you are on the way to Bangalore?
Yeah, just I reached and I just opened. No, actually yesterday only I come to the Bangalore.
Oh, you are in Bangalore today?
Yeah. I think this morning I attended cyber security program and I just joined this program right now.
Good. Carry on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I extend my warm welcome to organizing committee members, Dr. Maunesh Acharya, convener, GMIT, IIC. Welcome you, sir. I also welcome Mr. Kirti Prasad Ji, coordinator of this webinar, assistant professor, Department of IIC. Welcome you, sir. Finally, I welcome heads of various departments, faculty members, and students who have joined us today. Welcome you all. Thank you. So next, I request Dr. Manjappa sir to address the gathering. Please, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. My friends from Czech Republic, Subramanian Venkateshan.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yeah, just now we have been introduced to Shylesh and Subramaniam. And we have a host, Leena Nachappa, and also our ambassador, Shobha Patil. And also my fellow friends at GMIT, Dr. Vijay Kumar, Dr. Sunil Kumar, Dr. Maunesh, and all my faculty, both in IS department, CS department, and all the other departments, IIC coordinators of the great institution GMIT, and all my student friends. Especially this webinar is concentrating with these three visionaries, resource persons, experts, and the technocrats who are here to guide you for the development of a new product, a product which is fit to the market. There may be many products which you, as we rightly discuss even in the classrooms, there are many kind of industries. Software industry is also one of the industry which cater to the needs of human population to improve the quality of life. To improve the quality of life, to improve the economy of the country, economy of the human population, and whatnot. In this venture, of course, you are also a products, would-be products. Most of the students who are joined to the engineering, when they join after +2, we call them as raw materials. They will be molded. Lot of codings have been done on you. Lot of, chiseling has been done. Moldings has been done. Ultimately, you will be created as a products to the market. This product what we intend to send it out should have acceptability in the market. So much so, during the course of study, in fact, you will be taught many things, starting from a fundamentals to, and a growing of the technology will be explained to you all around. Exposure will be given to you to know the facets of various technology developments. Therefore, this is one of such activity wherein a different exposure will be given to you as a product when you go out. How you will be useful is one aspect, and the product what you develop as an engineers, as a technocrats, how it will be useful. The useful to the society, is it for commercial activity? Is it for social upliftment or for beneficial to the society as such? With these concepts, I think the three experts what we have today will have great things to provide you. The students who are eagerly waiting for their presentations. I request them, be alert in the entire session. Take the best thing what they provide you for your own benefit. A new education policy which has been introduced in India, just for the present information of our chief guest, the new education policy which will be after 30-35 years. We have come with a new education policy. This year and onwards, the policy will be adopted, wherein the teaching and training will be students oriented. Students are the teacher's role in the colleges here afterwards will become only a mentoring activity. We will not be bothering too much to the students. It is called student-centric orientation of education in India has been introduced. The whole of the lot to explain takes a lot of time. Many occasions we have discussed with the students. Just to inform you that Cabinet has taken a decision to introduce the scheme, and all that facets of education, including the innovation, has been taken as one of the major role. That's why this innovation councils, which have been established in all the colleges of higher education, is one of the preliminary activity which is extended by Government of India. It is a voluntary steps, and all these centers, institution innovation councils are the councils voluntarily developed, voluntarily created in institutions under the headship of the heads of the institutions and the professors and the students' involvement. And this is going on just like a detonator. The activities are actually detonating. Last week there was a assessment meeting which was done by the Ministry of Education. They were telling about more than 65 lakh activities have been conducted in higher education institutions of India under this IIC throughout the country. So such a big way the things are happening. All this benefit will definitely go to the students community, and GMIT is one of the luckiest institute wherein we have an active IIC center, and to catalyze, to activate, to help the Shobha Patil and the team of experts who are here today are really helping us in molding and motivating all of you. I think this deliberation and webinar will be a great success, and if at least with this deliberations, the three experts who are giving their best and the ambassador who is present here to give us the valuable inputs, if 4 companies come out, or 4 products, if not companies, at least 4 products, if our students who are hearing today, if they come out with the acceptable, a market acceptable product, that will be a great achievement in the 2020-21 year. With these few words, let me congratulate the organizers, compliment the organizers, and congratulate the students who are attending this. I once again thank immensely all these visionaries, the technocrats who are here to help us. Thank you, Subramaniam. Thank you, Shailesh. Thank you, Shobha and Lina. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. All the best.
Sir. Thank you very much, sir. Next, I request Miss Lina to host the rest part of the session. Over to you, Lina.
Thank you, Nazreen. Hello, and thank you for joining our webinar today on developing a product fit to market. I'm Lina Nachipa, Director of Business Development, BPL Labs. We at BPL Labs are more than happy to bring experts on board to enhance the skills of the students and bring in this campus to corporate culture. And especially it is always our pleasure to be associated with GMIT. Due to the overwhelming response that we received in the last session, we decided to continue the workshop so that the audience who learned business canvas model in the previous session will apply thought process and advance their understanding on how to build an innovative product that fits the market. To take you all through this interesting journey, we have our expert speakers, Mr. Shylesh Patel and Mr. Subramaniam with us today. I would like to take a few minutes to introduce both the speakers. Mr. Shylesh Patel is the founder and CEO of Satro, which is based in Prague, Czech Republic. He comes with 35 plus years of international leadership experience across industries such as shipping, apparel, nutraceuticals, finance, management, and IT consultancy at board level. He has worked with Fortune 500 companies as well as SMEs globally at senior management and also board levels. He also has set up a business across many industries. He has expertise in areas of change management, continuous improvement program, distribution, supply chain management, entrepreneurship, sales management, digital transformation and marketing, brand management, e-commerce, CRMs, ERP strategy, and the list goes on. He has actively trained and spoken on various topics of leadership, business management, industry innovations, and company engineering across various industries, geographies, and also cultures. He is a visionary leader and a strategic thinker. So along with Mr. Shylesh Patel, we have Mr. V. Subramaniam, who is the Director of Digital Technology for Otis Elevator Company. He is based in Prague too. He lives in Czech Republic. He has 33 plus years of experience in enterprise IT leadership across industries such as manufacturing, FMCG, and MNC. He is one of the ex-board member of Otis ISRC. He has 20 plus years of experience in global leadership across geographies such as Asia, Middle East, Europe in Otis. He is an expert in business strategies, transformation, and execution. He also has 15 plus years of experience in delivering guest lectures in leading business schools. He is a CIO 100 awardee and speaker in CXO forums as well. So it is our true pleasure to have you both today. I would like to welcome both Mr. Shylesh and V. Subramaniam. We look forward to interactive session with the students and an active participation by all the members. Thank you so much. And over to you, Shylesh and Subramaniam.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Lena, and thanks for the wonderful opportunities. So with this, we'll get started. So what I'll do is, if it is fine, then I'll switch off the video because so that we can put up the slides.
Sure.
Yeah, all of you can see the slides, please. Lena?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so very good morning to all of you. It's indeed a great pleasure, and also it's a great, wonderful opportunity to reconnect again. And thank you, Dr. Professor Sarathi sir, and also the other members, and Lena and Shobha for the great introduction and the great support, and giving us an opportunity to share our leadership insights. Okay, so what is so today's session? So we talk about building an innovation product and fit for the market. I think there was a very nice preamble said by the Dr. Professor Sarathi on students grooming as a product, and then marketing the product, then creating that value, co-creating that value in the market. So we will touch upon something called persona-based leadership. That's an added value, which we will talk about it in this particular sections. So with this, let us take a little bit back step. What do you mean by successful growth companies? Okay, so what do you mean by success? The growth companies, you take Uber, you take Apple, you take many companies, and including you take the major institutions, and you talk about any product, you talk about any value. How do they create that success? What do you mean by the growth companies? Okay, a company like Otis is there for more than round about 150 plus years. So what is that? Why we create that success? What do you mean by that? One, so every company has a product. Okay, it can be a product. So there is a very nice definition that nobody builds an ideal product. Am I right? Okay, like when as a student you come out of the institute, it's not an ideal product you come. You are groomed on certain skills, certain competencies, certain certain leadership skills, certain domain expertise. And then when you start applying those learnings, applying those examples, and then you gain that experience. And when you start gaining that experience and continue your learning, then you create your market, you create your persona, and then you create a value. So same thing applies in any product. So what is the product we create? And what is the value that product has in the market? And what is that brand or the persona this product carries? And that creates the market segment and then the revenue. So we will walk through each and everything. Again, we will be connecting to the business model canvas, what we shared in the last section. So with this, I will hand over to Shylesh to talk about product market fit's definition. Shylesh, for you.
Okay. So let's sort of take a step back and let's see what are the characteristics of a growth company, a successful company. I mean, first thing is you have to have given your clients, your customers a great customer experience, and not just at one point in time, throughout the customer journey. Whenever you come in touch with the company or the product, you must have a good experience. Your product should be viable. It should create value. It should be demanded by the market. There should be a need for your products. There should be a want, and your product or your service should solve a problem. There is a problem and it should be solved. So based on that, also you need a revenue model. So you need a sound revenue model, and timing is also important. It is when do you launch your product? When do you enter the market? It's key. And of course, then you come into segmentation and market positioning and other issues. Now, let's look at what the actual definition is. Now, a lot of people have tried to define product market fit. You know, there are some definitions, but generally what it is, it's generally a product which satisfies the market or innovation which satisfies a market. You know, and the product itself is learning. As the market learns, it's learning, you are learning, the company is learning until it becomes a product which is fit for the market. Okay, and there is obviously a match between what the demand is and what the value proposition is for the market. So for example, if Tesla, for example, comes with a value proposition that they are going to supply a car which is battery operated, which is, you know, we can charge it anytime, it's got an image, it's going to satisfy the needs, it's environmentally friendly. So that's a value proposition that Tesla is proposing in a market. So if there is a demand for that, then obviously there will be a very successful company. And so you have to understand the product has to fit into the market. And there's a saying in circles that market is everything, because market dictates what your product should be. Because you can create a fantastic product, but if it's not needed by the market, if it doesn't fit in the requirements, it doesn't solve the problem, then it is not much of a product. You know, some people, like, you know, you have this definition by Mark Anderson, who says that, you know, the holy grail of entrepreneurship is product market fit. So, you know, people have different sort of definitions, but ultimately the main definition is just the same. So let's move on to the next slide, and I will hand on to Subbuji, and who will.
Yeah, so as we talked about product market fit, so the definitions, like you have a bookish definition, then you have a realistic definition, so anything. Let us talk about in a very simplistic term. Okay, what do you mean by product? So a company, let us take example, Marico. Marico is an FMCG company, and they make product like parachutes, Sepholas, and the other products. Okay, and they have around about 2 to 3 factories in India, and they make the FMCG product. Now, so a company which builds a product, okay, So that is one. They have already have a product. Okay. And how do they position that market? How do they build that product? So they want to introduce a new variant. Okay. And how do they go about in building that product? And how do they go and sell that market? And how do they create that market? And what is the market research we do that? So there are two aspects in the product market fit. One, I can build a new product and go and sell it in the market and create a market demand like Apple. Okay, when Apple got introduced, it was the first GUI based phone and which creates a unique market. They create the demand. Okay, so you see one type of market, Apple. People wait in the stores to get that Apple iPhone. And then there is another one. There is a demand, and then you create the supply. Okay, one, you create that inclusiveness or you create that excitement and create the demand. And one, there is a demand and you create that product. So currently, all of us know there is a COVID and there is a Covaxin. It's a product. Okay, so there is a demand because demand based on circumstances. So there are various ways what we can define a product market fit. One, based on the demand, based on the need, and based on the circumstances, or we go and create the demand, like the guys like innovation, like Apple, Tesla, and all other people. And we'll take some examples in IT also. Okay, so that is one. And second is the problem. So let us take example after we join a company. Okay, so there is a product, and that product is not doing well in the company market. So how do we go about and fix that problem in the problem for the product? So one, we analyze what went wrong in the product, why this product is not acceptable by the market. So that is one way of looking at it. Now, how do we apply this learnings in our own way, in your project, in your application? So I can see most of the people are IT guys. So when you join an IT company, so you develop a solution. Okay, so you join SAP, you can join Microsoft, but you build a solution for a client or for a customer. Okay, so now one, you build a new solution or a new product for the company to be used by the users. Or second, there is already an ERP or a CRM which is deployed and it's in kiosk, it's not being used properly. Then how do you use this concept to apply, to define the problem, to arrive at a solution? So that's where we will try to apply some principles, what we are going to learn. So one is a product. You want to create a product and sell it in the market. And second, there is already a product, it's not doing well, or you want to continually innovate. So how do we do that? And one of the most important thing, why are we doing all these things? What's the purpose of this market, product fit, or whatever we want to call? We want to create that unique experience, okay, or that enriching experience we call it. And that's most important. And what do you mean by customer experience? Customer experience is a journey, okay? It's not a destination. So we have to create that experience from every stage of the product, okay? Like you take an example of Apple, they create that experience because it's not a product. How many of you would have seen Steve Jobs launch or any of the Apple launches? They don't talk about the product. They talk about that experience. They talk about the usability. You got it. So that's the way the market is changing. People want to have that experience. Okay. So now, same thing like when you like in an IT company, when you deploy a solution to an end client or a customer, then how do you create that experience in building a solution which will address a business need? Okay. So that's what is called customer experience. It covers one, the business. What is the business? And second is the technology. What is the technology we want to use by the business to address a customer need? And comes the customer. So one of the good examples which I want to talk about is Salesforce. Okay, how many all of us know Salesforce? Okay, they created a game changer. If you just look back before Salesforce, people were having CRM put up in their own data center, creating the CRM and using the CRM. But Salesforce came with a game changer. They put the CRM on the cloud. It's available on the cloud. You can create your pipeline. You can create your customers. You can create opportunities. You can create prospects, quotation, and all of the stuff, the complete sales life cycle. Okay. So now that created a game changer in the industry. Now, Salesforce, they created a business model. It's a Salesforce. It's on the cloud. It's available for customer. It's secured. And they created a technology using the cloud and the customer. They created segmentized customer. You want a lot. You're a large customer, you're a medium customer, you're a small size customer, you can still go and use your product. Okay, it's a configurable, it's ready to use. Now, that's the game changer, and they want to create that experience. So there are enough examples to talk about customer experience. Shylesh, your point?
Yeah, I will take a different example. I'll give you an example from a FMCG company, which is called Zappos. Now, Zappos, when they started, all they said was they are going to keep up the customers happy no matter what. And people didn't take them seriously, because if you look at their teams and if you look at the way they dress and where they create their image, it's almost like a clown type of image. But they are very serious business people. If Zappos started, for example, with the product which is basically shoes, okay, but the way they evolved is really remarkable. So, for example, if you called Zappos and you said, look, I want to buy those shoes, but I need some clothing with it. I don't think this dress will go with those shoes. They would find the dress for you. Remember, they are a shoe company initially. So they went to the extent that they actually met all your needs. Now they have a radio station which actually caters, and during the pandemic, people were calling them for help, for if they want to talk to somebody, if they want to, so you can see the journey, the customer journey, where it takes you. And this is just one example of many. So if you go into their website, they will have upsells, downsells, offers, discounts, and at every stage of the experience, they are thanking you. They will have a thank you page, will come in thank you. When you receive their product, you will get a nice box with a thank you note personally. And some of the notes are handwritten. It's not just created. So somebody is spending time handwriting it and signing it. And these are senior management doing it. So you can see what kind of experience you have. And now if you have that kind of experience, why would you go to anybody else? So this is a way that you have to understand. The customer experience has a lot of sections to it. There is the perception, there is the emotional experience, because they're actually, once they capture you emotionally, it is difficult to move. This is very underrated, and people do not, you can have a lot of technology doing a lot of things, but you need to capture the emotional aspect of the client, of the customer. And once you get there, it is very difficult to move. The technology changes and you can get another product or anything. But once you get the hook, as they say, the bait and the hook into the emotional side of your client or customer, it is difficult for them to move. And we know that from experience. I mean, if somebody treats us right and gives us, all the service we want, why would we move elsewhere? And we are even willing to pay a better price for it. So that kind of, that's customer experience for you. So let's move on to the next one, and I'll get Subbu to speak on the next.
So there is one strong message which is good for the students is, see, as you start embarking your journey in a corporate world, or any of your company, or even if you want to do a startup company or you're joining a company, the number one is the customer. Means how do you connect with the customer? How do you engage with the customer? And how do you understand the customer? What is the customer profile, customer persona? And then how do you create that experience? If you start building this attitude, start building this approach from the early stage of the career, believe me, it creates an enriching experience, because you learn a lot about the industry. You learn a lot through the customer experience, because if you just want to know, if you are building a solution for a company like Otis or Merico or any company joining an IT company, you come to know about the industry, you come to know about the product, you come to know about the market. So these things you cannot learn from any formal business schools. These are all the life learning experience. People get it, and then you get this enriching experience. Just to summarize on the product market fit. Okay, so we talked about the definition. It's all about the ability of a product to satisfy the market. Okay, and we will talk about segmentation. We'll talk about positioning very soon. So there is one of the three criteria for any product market. One is the value proposition. I think we talked about it in the earlier section on the business model canvas. We'll touch upon that. Then we'll talk about channels. Then we talk about monetization. Okay. Now, at the same time, there are myths in the product that, okay, product market fit is always has to be a discrete or it's a big bang event. No, it's not. It's not about, you can create a product which will address a particular segment and you can promote. Let me give an example of Marico. Marico, when they launched the Saffola salt, okay? So what they did is they didn't launch it across India. They launched it for a particular segment where people like to use packaged salt. If you traditionally look at India, India was mostly rock salt, okay? Or the salt which is sold in the market. They never heard about anything called packaged salt, okay? So this was the game changer in the industry, okay? So same thing, it's all about, there is a myth, but at the same time, what's the reality and how do we want to change that reality? Now, regarding the product market fit pyramid, so I will request Shylesh to talk about it.
Okay, I will address this in a more practical way because, determine your target customers. And I'll give you an example of a company whose products we all use probably almost every day, and how they went about it. So let's look at a simple product that we use, which is a shaving blade. Okay, so what happened? Few years ago, the issue was that how do we build this? There used to be open razors, and then the blades came in. But when the blades came in, it was very harsh and it is to cut. So there was a problem there. So there was pain there for the client. So what Gillette went about doing is they decided who will be their customers for their new blade. So then they went and identified what is called undeserved customer needs. Undeserved means which are painful to the customer, which they already knew. So they already knew that this is what is causing the problem. Then they created a value proposition for it. Then they went to, develop the MVP. What is the minimum viable product for that? Then they promoted it and then they tested it time and time again. So let's see how they went about it. I mean, in a nutshell, what they did was, firstly, they identified who the client was that would buy their blade. Now, remember, they were coming into the market and blades, people did not pay a lot for blades because they were quite cheap at that time, and there were open razors and there was single blades, which what was called a single blade. So they came up with this product, which basically was, they had some soft plastic on it, so it wouldn't cut. They made the blades into 3 blades, so it would shave closer. So then they had a price point for that blade. So now they decided how would they, who should this be targeted with? So if you look at all the ads that went out against this product, they were always targeted towards professional people. You always get, and then they developed a story around it. So it is very critical. You have to develop a story around your product. So they developed a story around it. And if you see the early ads, it's a guy who's basically, working very hard and comes from the office home, and then his wife comes in and hugs him, and she's also coming from the office. So then they decided that's what, and it got great reviews. So they decided the product would be launched in this market niche where people who are working people, who are professional people, who are able to pay for the product and who would use the product. So that's how they went about identifying and determining who their target market was. Now, they already, through their market research, they knew that the blades available in the market at that time did not meet the criteria of, cutting it close, shaving close, so they already had the pain point. So they identified undeserved, what we call customer needs. Then they defined what their value proposition was. And their value proposition at that time was unique, because what they did was they actually gave you the razor free. So if you went to buy blades, you got the razor free. So why wouldn't you buy their blades when you are getting something free? Then they also distributed single blades, or the new blades, what they were working towards the MVP, freely to all their channels of distribution, that is to retailers, to pharmacies, to wholesalers, who consequently distributed to the consumers. Whoever came to the shops, or whoever came to the hypermarkets, they got a free blade there. So they defined their value proposition. Now they had the bait, they had the hook. The bait was free razors. The hook was that they had to buy this product repeatedly because everybody needs to shave. So they had created this value proposition in a very simple way. Then what happened? They decided that basically we would put this product in the market and let people try it. So they did not have a finalized product. They had a minimum product, which was basically they were going to add more features to it. So once they created this MVP prototype and kept distributing it, then it was tested. I mean, the term which calls, it's like rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So the cycle is repeated. This is a cycle. You keep repeating it till you finalize a great product. And that's how they succeeded in getting that product. And today, if you see, the product keeps evolving because it is not a one-time product. And some products takes maybe 3, 4, 5 years to evolve. It's not necessary that you will, in 3 months, you're going to identify your, perfect product. It takes a long time to get to that stage. And even then, if you have competition competing with you, then you have to evolve your product even more. So that is just the product market fit pyramid. So if you look at it, every area of the pyramid, the user experience, the feature set, the value proposition, they're all interrelated. Then what are your undeserved needs? Who are your target customers? So that's one type of product. I mean, another type of product is a company. This is a company which is going to come up similar to Salesforce. It is going great at the moment, which is a simple company called Gong. Now, what did they do? They basically had a team, product, and market, the 3 success factors that any product market fit requires. So they had created a team which was made up of developers, administrators, programmers, software. And what did this product do? This product simply addressed the issues of salespeople, of sales thing. Because with the new technology, the information flow is through various means. It's by email, it's by chat, it's by phone calls, it's by meetings. So what they did, they created a platform where all these information could be gathered. Because what used to happen is basically in a typical company, some sales guy is making a deal in one country, some guy is doing in another country or another region, and nobody is actually collating this information. So the information is not on one place. So how do you manipulate, make the deals, and how do you get the best pricing? So this was developed like that. And the product is called Revenue Intelligence. So it is an intelligent product. It met the needs of the sales organization in various things. It was segmented. They went for a particular niche, and now they are developing it into an industry. So it is basically build, measure, learn. Think, work, learn, repeat. Think, learn, work, repeat. And this cycle carries on all the time. This is, I mean, if you look at the definitions, it's like an actionable model, right? It takes these components and you have to turn them around and keep repeating the cycle till you get the product. So I just explained, sort of going through what the product market fit pyramid is and how the 6 steps operate and how you can, evolve using these 6 steps. So we'll make the next slide and I will ask Subbu to.
Yeah, so if I just outline this 6-step process, like for an example in Otis. So we have created a Otis One, which is an IoT related product solution for remote diagnosing, remote monitoring, predictive analytics for elevators. Okay, Otis is having around about 2 million units across the world. And we have presence across every country, every place. Okay, I know all of you would have gone to nice shopping malls, some nice building, and you would have gone in an Otis elevator and you would have felt very nice, comfortable, and safe. So let us talk about Otis One. So how did we go about in creating this target customer? So what we did is, we know that in the market today, we want, earlier, if you look at the traditional way, when you have a problem in the elevator, you call the call center, the mechanic will come, and then he will start repairing, so other stuff. Today, what we did is, we have this intelligent elevators, which is installed in most of the countries, most of the place. So we use this IoT technologies to use for remote monitoring, predictive analytics, health of the elevator, whether the elevator is going good, right, quality, and everything. So that's where then we understood there is a market need and we need to build something similar to that. Okay, that's point number one. And then second, we created a prototype. Okay, so we identified the customer needs. So what is it? The elevator can get stuck when you are inside an elevator, or the elevator can create some noise when you are moving. And third is the preventive maintenance. Like, okay, what will be the what do you call the current rope when it can fail? So all these things, we identified certain key parameters, and then we created a product. And the value proposition is very important. What do the customer wants? Okay, and how do we create that value for that customer? And that's where then we came with a solution called Otis One. And all of you can go and look at the YouTube or otis.com. There is a very nice video about Otis One product. So we came with this product called Otis One, which is on IoT technology and on the cloud. And then we started working with our close customers, because we have some loyal customers who have these modern elevators. And then we went about and installing this product. And today you will be amazed. We have almost like more than around about 200K customers using the IoT, and the number of messages is far more than the Twitter. So that's the value proposition, because the customer feel this as an experience, because this is what we talk about is called enriching experience. And the same thing, you can apply this learning in your own way. Like you build a product like today. You join an IT company, you want to build a product. Then how do you apply the 6 steps to create that prototype, to create that experience, and to create that value for the customer? Okay. Now, so we talked about the definition, we talked about the customer experience, and we talked about the 6 steps. Now, what is the framework? Because all of us are guys, IT guys, we like the framework because you have the Gartner framework. We have so many frameworks. Now, what is the framework? Okay, one is the idea. Okay, so let us talk. I gave you an example, like Otis One was an idea. And same thing, one of the emerging technologies, artificial intelligence, that is robotic process automation, machine learning. All of us are quite aware of it, some of us. No, there is a technology, but how do you apply this technology to create a value for the business? Okay, so there is an idea. Okay, then how do you create that business model? Okay, so Otis One was a business model because it creates the customer experience, it creates value, and also it creates revenue for the customer, client, for us. And same thing. So let us give an example of ServiceNow. Okay, all of us would have known ServiceNow. If you go back a little bit step, you have an IT department, end user company which is having around about 1,000 users, and they have a problem in the laptop or a desktop or any application. What is the traditional way? They'll go and catch the engineer. The engineer will come and rectify the problem, or he'll come and say, I will. Then started the ticketing system. Now, ServiceNow came with a cloud model and say, hey, why not I build a nice help desk on the cloud? A very good, efficient ticketing model with the KPIs defined, with the SLAs defined, and then response time, then allocating to the end users. So this is the business model. And today they came with the business model of a pure, like how do I manage a help desk activity for a client, for a customer, so that they don't need to put any help desk software. Today, you know what's the latest status? They have come with the field. They came with a field solution. That is a complete field solution for a customer who are into the field business, which is like Otis. We also render service to the customer. So they have very good solution where they scaled up a very simple help desk model to a comprehensive field solution, giving competition to the Salesforce or ServiceMax. So that is what is called business modeling. Okay, one, which is based on your discovery and development. So when you have the business model, And we will talk about how do we apply business model canvas to this business modeling. And second, we will talk about market validation, like how do you go about in market validation? Like example in Otis one, we talked about like how do you do the prototype, how do you get the feedback from the customer, how do you get that experience? And third is the customer interviews. This is the most important aspect. Okay, so most of the IT companies, they develop nice solutions, nice product and everything, but do we really do that customer interview? Okay, to get the feedback. Most of the guys, what they do, they send one feedback form, hey, rate 1 to 5. Okay, but do we really engage the customer and ask him, hey, what is that functionality and feature which you like it? What is the functionality and feature is creating value for you? So these are the important specific questions we need to ask. So this is, we need to build it as a part of the portfolio. We need to build it as a part of our process. Okay, that's on the point number 3. And point number 4 is the product development. So how do you go about in developing the product? How do you build quality principles in the product? How do you build security? Now let us take example again. You are building a product, or you are building you're customizing a Salesforce application for a CRM. Okay. Now, when you want to deploy it across the world, including India, they are coming with the data privacy laws. Then, how do you include the data privacy laws from the beginning? How do you include the quality principles from the day one? So that when I build a solution or when I build a product and give it to the customer, so that we don't have any turnbacks, we don't have any escapes. Okay, there should not be any bugs. Huh? You got it? The best example is all of us go in a flight. You got it? And when you go in a flight, okay, so what do you suppose if the pilot says, my aircraft is 99% tested, signed by the users as UAT sign off, and it has gone live. We did the successful pilot, but we have 1% chance of failure. So the flight has taken off. So how many of you would react? What would be your reaction? 1% failure in an aircraft means disaster and fatality. So that is where if you have that mindset and build an application, because I worked, Otis was part of United Technology, which were part of the aerospace. And that's the learning we got it and say, no, when I build a product or when I build some solution for my client, for my end users, be it Otis One, be it mobility solution, be it ERP, be it CRM, my benchmark should be, I should not have any turnbacks. I should not have any escape. Then how do I create that business model? How do I create that customer validation? How do I create that personas? And so this is the important. And last but not least, measure. Okay, adoption of the application. And then what do you call, how do you create metrics? Because most of us, what we do, we don't measure. So there is a very nice quote called, what you treasure, we need to measure. So it's very important to identify the KPIs. So let us talk example of Salesforce. Okay, I implemented a sales CRM solution. So what is the measure I need to create? One, how many leads did I generate? How many prospects did I generate? And what was the win? What was the loss? Okay. In addition to that, how much time my sales guy is spending time on the system to create the leads and opportunity in a qualitative way? And what were the turnbacks did I get it? Okay. And how many times did I lose to my competitors? And how many times did I win? On what other parameters did I win? What parameters did I lose to the competitor? So this is called competitive intelligence or productive analytics. And that will create a product market fit. And this is a continual innovation framework. It's not like I develop a product, implement it, that's it, I can relax over it. It's a journey. Okay. Today, if you take an example, you build something called MVP 1.0, then you start scaling up to 2, 3. So this is the way the market approaches. So in summary, we talked about what is market. So we'll see how these concepts can be applied in the realistic way using some templates. So all of you remember this? How many of you have seen this in the earlier session? This business model canvas, we talk about it. I'll just give you 1 minute touch up on this BMC. So we talked about it in last time. So business model canvas can be applied for minimum two categories. One, if you want to build a new product, if you want to build a new solution, if you want to build a new company, or if you want to build some new thing, new idea. So you can use this particular template. What is there? That is, you identify the key parameter, the value proposition, the customer relationship. You can put this template, which we talked about it in the last slide, last time. Now, you have already deployed a solution, you have already deployed a product, like there is a ERP which has been deployed for a company, or there is a education management system which is deployed in your company, and you want to digitalize that solution. So what is the problem? Okay, so this, you can use this business model canvas either for a new product. Now there is slight difference. So when we talk about this model canvas, then we need to identify the problem statement. How do you define a problem? Okay, hey, my product is not doing well. So when you ask anybody like, okay, how is the application what we deploy? Hey, there are a lot of bugs, there are a lot of issues. That is most generic statement. You got it. Like you develop something using artificial intelligence and RPA, and you deploy it for a client. Hey, oh, it's not working fine. It's not good. It's really bad. But that's most generic. So what is bad and what is good? So can we go into deep dive? So that is what is the different problem statement. We need to ask that why, and then we need to find out the solution. Okay, what is the solution which will address this problem, which will mistake-proof the problem, so that I don't have this mistake repeated again and again. Okay, that is the solution. And second, what is the value proposition I'm going to give by putting this solution? Okay, so I have addressed the problem, but what is the value proposition? What is the unique proposition I'm going to give it to the user, so that he gets the better experience, so that he forgets the past experience? Okay, and the metrics, we talked about it. How do you measure this, the adoption of the system? How do you measure the adoption of the product? How do you measure the market reaction towards the product? Okay, you launch a product, but the product is doing good. Let me give an example in Marico. When we launched this Saffola salt, so what we did is we created a data analytics to find out how the product is doing very well in which market, which segment, which area, which SKU is doing very well. Okay, so we created metrics for Saffola, we created metrics for Parachute Oil. So the same thing is applicable even for the IT companies, or any company which wants to do this valuation. Okay. So we talked about value proposition in the last segment. Now, why it's important value? This is one of the most important aspect in any product mid, because if you miss this value proposition, it's very difficult to understand what is that we want to do in the market, what is that we want to bring the product, why are we building the solution. You go and meet any IT company. Most of the people who develop the application, they are not even aware, or they are not even understand why are we building this solution. Okay, because my boss told me we got a very good order by the client, from the client. Oh, it's 100 million order. We need to build a solution. But for what purpose? Who is going to use that solution? What is the reason, and what value it will create for the end customer? Nobody visualizes that. Okay, so this is the art I would request all the students to learn. Shylesh?
Yeah, I think it's excellent what you are saying, Subbuji, because this is key part of your business model canvas. If you do not have a value proposition, which meets the market demands, which meets all the criteria that your business model canvas requires, it is very, very difficult. And especially, targeting towards technology companies, because what happens is a lot of people get enamored by the technology. But so when you get enamored by technology, you're forgetting why is this technology there for in the first place. So it is very difficult for you. It's a mindset issue, but of course, it's being addressed, etc. I'll give you a small example. A few years ago, there was the product launched, which was called Movie Pass. Okay. This product was launched in a way that it was basically costs you $10. And what the idea was that if you bought this movie pass for $10, you could go to any theater and watch these movies. Now this was a deal done between the movie people and who made the movie and the theater people. So there was a platform created, and you would go and buy this movie pass. it didn't last 6 months because firstly, it was not financially viable. They spent hours and days and years by designing this MoviePass platform, but it didn't, it just didn't meet the criteria. So their value proposition itself was incorrect, but they thought they could make a lot of money. So obviously, what happened is basically as the revenues which should have been generated did not come in, basically the investors pulled out. So then it flopped. So these are the kind of problems you face so value proposition is critical. I mean, if you look at Spotify, if you look at Spotify, all of you listen to music, right? So, but today you can get all your music on Spotify. It's cheap. It's got a huge catalog. Yeah, it's extensive. You don't need to go to some other source, saying this because I want to listen to this particular music or not. So this was a value proposition created by Spotify. So I mean, nowadays, if you travel on an airplane, most of the times you're scanning your tickets, right? Few years ago, when this came in initially, it was created by an airline called Delta in America. So when Delta created this, scanning and you can get your ticket on your mobile and etc. This was not a new product. Remember, you already had tickets before. But what they did was they evolved that product from a product which was cumbersome, which could be lost, it's not easy to use, to a product which was easy to use. And they also put all the information in the cloud. So you can imagine how this evolved. Now, this was their value proposition. Now almost every other airline does it, right? So it is important to create that value proposition.
Okay, this time, this value proposition template, we talked about it in the last section, so we can use this template. I will just keep moving. Now, what is this MVP or minimum viable product? Because this is a debatable question that what is the solution you want to build? Okay, so let me give one example on how did we go about building. So we have around about 15,000 mechanics in EMEA, in Europe, managing and supporting elevators, which is like more than 15 to 20,000 mechanics. Now, earlier we had this devices, Motorola, some countries were using paper to track the callback, the mobility application. So what we did is we create a value proposition and say, hey guys, we can't work on the same outdated technology of capturing callback on paper. Today, mechanics should have a nice iPhone device where we can create a app which will track the callback, which will tell the mechanic which I have a call and how do I go to the customer place and how do I manage and maintain that elevator. So that's where then what we did is, okay, one, I can get the entire requirement of everybody and then wait and build an ideal product. So what we did is we identify what are the key basic requirements which is required to sustain and manage the operations. Okay, so that's point number one. So we had a brainstorming section, deep dive, and we identified one, we need to have certain basics. Okay, I want the mechanic to know what are the units, and then I need to use the geolocation code to identify what are the units installed in that particular location. And the third is I need to know what unit I need to go and maintain the service. Where did I get the call back? And second, when I go to the site, I need to get the basics, like there are some safety related aspects. Do I follow the safety? And then I perform my activities. That is, I do my repair job. And last, how do I close the repair? Okay, so these are very, very basic. So we identified what are the very basic needs for the operation. And that's where then we built a product which is called MVP1. And we created a field mobility solution, which got deployed in around about more than 15,000 mechanics in Europe. And then we start, as and when people start using the solution, the users start using the solution, and then we created a mechanism to capture the feedback. Then when we started getting the feedback, hey, we want some additional features. We want to know what is the route optimization. How do we optimize the route? We want to know where the traffic is. And we want to also order spare part, or at least we communicate. So we started building the product, and that's where then we came with 1.2.0, 3.0, and that's where you come with you reach certain ideal position. And this is important whenever you build a product, be it an application, or be it any solution, what you do. It's not that on the day one, you will go and visualize and say, I want to, unless until I have a very nice ideal product or something, I will go and deploy. Let us take a student example. When you graduate from the university, we don't call ourselves ideal. You got it? Anybody who calls that I have come from the institute, I'm a very nice ideal candidate, then that means that person is living in a dreams world. Okay, so we are something unique. We have some capabilities, we got some skills, and we got some domain experience. Now what we do is, this is our MVP 1.0. We are MVP 1.0 now. Now what we do, we apply for a job, we get that experience, and we start scaling up based on the market need. We adapt to the new skills. Okay, some of us are very passionate in artificial intelligence, and we go and learn those skills related to the RPI, machine learning, and something. And some of us would like to be a project leader. Then we go and do a PMI certification. So we keep adding those skills. And then we start building a MVP 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. So like that, we start building the product. And that's how you become mature. And then we become leaders.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, we've been through a lot of these issues already, but I will quickly come to that. We have a minimum viable product. Now, where do we take this from? We have to understand, we have to create a product which meets the business needs, right? That's also we have to look at. So what is it viable? Do we have the technology to take the MVP further? Do we have the knowledge what competition is? Do we have a vision for the company? Do we have market knowledge? Do we have initial customer, what needs? Are we meeting that? So once we have that, we have some sort of insight into our basic, as we call it, MVP 1.0. Now, how do we create that to a product which is fit for market? Yeah, market fit product. So basically, we have to go through the loops. We have to look at what the feasibility is, what the technology is, then we put in that information. So again, it's the same thing. We keep on reviewing and rinsing and repeating. We look at it from the user point of view. We look at what the user wants, what the desirability is. So once we go through these loops of thing, then you test the solution. You upgrade your MVP, then you have a MVP 2, then you create another, define what other problems are, and then you ideate a solution, or you ideate a product. And there are, even after that, there are so many iterations, because it will become MVP 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is a continuous process. You cannot rest on your laurels, as they say, because your competition is always coming at you. So your product needs to evolve to the market needs, to what the customer wants. And once you've evolved through that, then you probably get a product marketing fit. Now, of course, there is evolution even after that, but that's the fundamental idea about having a framework for it.
Yeah, just one more example on this particular Salesforce. So Salesforce is the product, am I right? It's Salesforce is a product cum solution. So you join a company, then you want to deploy a CRM solution using the Salesforce. So what do you do it? There is a product, there's some solution available to it. Then how do you create a CRM solution which will fit the requirements for a client? Okay, so this is also one of the aspects which can be applied into the principle. So Salesforce has host of features. As a client, do you require all the things? Okay, so now that is where then you go for the scoping, you understand the requirement, and you create a minimal viable solution. Okay, it's not only a minimal viable product, but also we can talk about minimal viable solution. So what is that minimal viable solution is? I want to capture the lead, the basic customer data, the customer contact, and then you start building, okay, next step, I want to create market campaigns. And the third is I want to create what you call persona-based applications. So that's where you start building the solution using this MVP philosophy. Okay. Now, there is a very important concept which I want to talk about is the whole product definition. So what do you mean by whole product? This is more related to an IT company. Okay. So when you go and buy a laptop, Okay, so let us take a simple example. So is a laptop a whole product or a standalone product? It's a debatable question. So you buy a HP, you buy a laptop, but you don't get, you get an operating system. You don't get antivirus and you don't get MS Office. Okay. Now, but there are smart companies. What they do is, I want to give a whole product. So what they do, they like Apple Macintosh or something. So what do? You buy a product. I will come with an Office 365. I will come with an antivirus. I will come with internet ready. Then I will come with certain basic software for you, so that on the day one you get the product, you start using it. If you go back a little bit earlier, we buy a laptop, then we have to go and buy MS Office, we have to install it, we have to configure. So this is the difference, a simplistic definition between a physical product and a complete product. And the same thing, when you build a solution, what is that solution you want to build? You want to build a holistic solution, which includes a solution with supported by a support model. So this is a very important. It depends upon the company. And second, the whole product also, it depends upon the experience what we want to create to the customer. And coming back to the market segment.
Okay, so coming back to the market segment, it is very important initially that we decide what market segment we want to address, because the market is huge. So you have to segment it, you have to target it, and then you can position your product. And the narrower the market segmentation, the chances of success are greater, because then you can focus on what are the real issues in that market. You can segment a market by channels, by geography, by demography, and very importantly, if you're selling, say, computers, and if you're selling a product which is IT based, behavior psychology is very, very important, because you have to know the avatar of the person who's buying that product. This is all done through like social media, through lifestyles, because think about it, who buys Apple products and who buys Dell products and who buys, HP products. If you look at the actual breakdown of people who buy that, they are different. It requires, breaking down into which person is, because some products are aspirational products like Apple. So there is a lot to be done in market segmentation. So when you focus, then you understand that there is a scarce market, your resources can be applied to that. And then when you got a narrow market, you can give a better service. You can give all the add-ons of a service. You can, somebody services them. There is pre-sales, post-sales, all the effort to satisfy the customers you can actually think. And also when you have a niche, the number of competitors reduces generally. So you have to leverage all these aspects towards your market segment. Now, you become a leader in that niche market. Once you become a leader in that niche market, then you can expand. And I'm just adding something else that, Salesforce did very well, which Subbu mentioned, is they went after they evolved into what is a policy of industrialization. So with their product, they went into financial services, they went into healthcare, they went into apparel, they went into all kinds of FMCG. Now they had a product, but they had to adapt it to all these various industries. So there is a step further, which is called industrialization of this product market mix. So that's another thing. And this starts with market segmentation. So once you start there, then you add value. You keep adding value to your offering. So that's basically market segmentation.
Thank you, Shylesh. So now adding to the positioning, why positioning is very important. Okay, because you have a product, you have created the market segment. Okay, we created the product. Now we have the solution. We created the market. Now, how do we position this market? Okay, because this is very important. Okay, now where do we, like, let us take example Tesla. Is Tesla being positioned for everybody? No, it's positioned for the premium luxury segment. And same thing, if you go back, if you go in more, if you go to any of the cities, there are apartments, there are condominium, there are luxury apartments. So everything is positioned for certain customers, certain market, certain segment. And same thing when some of the companies they launch a product, okay, it's all positioned for certain reasons. Now let us take example of Salesforce. What is Salesforce positioned for? They are not positioning themselves for ERP. They are just positioning as a sales, say, field system. Okay. Earlier they started as Salesforce, a sales system. Today they call it as a field system, which means sales, field, service. So that is the only market they want to capture, and they want to be the best across all the industries. So positioning is very important. And same thing, you take SAP. SAP positioning is for the ERP. And same thing, you talk about Oracle. Let us say Oracle is a very nice example. What was Oracle positioned around 15 years back as a product? Okay, they were not a solution company. Okay, they were purely product. Their Oracle database was one of the best database in the market at the time. So then they started building solution, that is MFG says. Okay, and today now they have something called Oracle Suite, NetSuite. Okay, so they also know the market. Okay, man, oh, I have a competition from SAP. I need to build something NetSuite, so which is on the cloud, so which is in enterprise application, which covers your finance, your manufacturing, your sale and field. So it's a complete suite of product. So this is where the market or market dimensions also changes your positioning. Okay, it keeps changing your positioning based on your market survey, based on the way you want to build the market. So this is one. Now let us talk about internal. Okay, so how do, as Otis, like as a CIO, how do I position a particular product within my company? Okay, I work with one of the leading IT company. I build a solution, and how do I position? Okay, so this concept is not just applied for outside, even for internal. So that's where then what I do, I understand, okay, this application I need to position for my field people, and this application is targeted for my finance people, and this application, like a ERP application, it can be used by finance and it can be used by other department. So what is that other department can use it? What is that the finance will do it? So that is the way I also create a positioning within the company. Okay, you go. It's this marketing principles are also applied within the company. Shylesh.
Yeah, I mean it's very important. What Subbu is saying, that it's absolutely important where you position. I will just give you two examples where the positioning people got it wrong. And okay, now if you look at a car called Volvo, okay, they basically, it was known for safety. Okay, now they came up with a car model which was like similar to a sports car. So now the brand is saying that I am a safety car, while the product is saying I am a sports car. And this sports car never really took off. The sales were poor because this is a conflict between the brand positioning and the product positioning. So they had to adjust, and ultimately they abandoned it, and they went back to their safety. Similarly, if a lot of you probably don't realize, Coca-Cola came up with a product which was juice based. Now nobody would say that Coca-Cola is selling fresh juices. So again, in that this was in the 90s and early 2000s, and then they also had to abandon, because the branding for Coca-Cola was something else, the branding for juice was something else. So, and of course PepsiCo capitalized on that, and they have a big range of juices. So that is positioning. Okay, so let's look at pricing strategy. Now, what is your pricing strategy when you take the product to the market? Okay, there is cost plus, there is what the market will bear, that is called what the market says the price, because there is a price in the market which you have to meet to compete. There is what is the value of my product to the buyer. So for example, your product might cost say $10 or $100 or $2,000, but the value to the buyer is say maybe $15,000. So then you have a big gap there. So then what do you need to put add-ons in that to make that price relevant? So you've got to position your pricing and your value of your product accordingly. So then you have all kinds of metrics in that, what the market will bear. You calculate all the prices of your competitors. Then you have what is called competitor intelligence and competitor analysis. So if you are a product coming in and you have 10 products competing with you, you should know where their pricing point is. You should know where their marketing position is. Then only you will be able to position your or price your product in a way that will make revenue for you and be profitable and be acceptable to the market.
Yeah, just to give an example of the product pricing. See, if you look at the market dynamics, earlier what happened, everybody was working on a CapEx model, okay? And today, if you look like, if I want to buy a laptop, if I want to buy an application, it's all CapEx, okay? And with an OpEx, operating expense. But today you look at it, it's all totally operating expense model, okay? It's because it's all managed service, okay? I have a cloud. So it's based on the concurrent user, it's based on the user license, it's based on the usage. So you look at the market dynamics. Even the pricing model has changed from the traditional pricing model to a very, very dynamic and agile pricing model, because it's not like a fixed price. Okay, I do something. Let me give an example. You build a product tomorrow and you want to sell it in the market. Now, one, do I put it onto the cloud and give it a paper usage, or do I create a fixed price model, or do I create a what you call revenue-based model? Now, there are some companies which says, okay, based on your sales revenue, and this is the cost you guys need to pay for the application what I use, like your SAP or Salesforce or something. So this is a very, very dynamic subject where the pricing is agile. It's gone beyond the traditional pricing strategy what we study. It's all about agile model. It's very dynamic. It keeps changing with the customer. There is a fixed price and there is a variable price. Right. Now, coming back, this concept of design thinking, we talked about it in the last slide. I want to stress to each and every one, please learn this concept. It's a very powerful concept, whether you want to build a product, whether you want to define a solution, whether we want to address a solution, because it's a very important subject. It's quite a long process, but design thinking in a short term is all about how do we think about the processes from end to end in a very systematic way. Yeah.
So I'm sorry, Mallikarjuna has some questions. I see someone raising hand, which is really good, interactive. Mallikarjuna, please go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah. Hello. Hello. Yeah. Yeah. I think it goes. Hello, we are not able to hear.
Sorry, we can't hear you. Sorry.
Maybe Mallikarjuna, you can just type the question we can ask.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
My name is Manjunath. Okay, let me ask you a question. That how did you raise the funding for your venture? How did you raise the funding for your venture?
For you.
There are various ways we can raise funding for ventures. Of course, there is there's crowdfunding, and then which we raise normally it's from private equity. So we do not go that much for debt funding, because debt funding can be tricky. So there are angel investors and people who are interested. So we try and go with people and people who are interested, but you can raise it various ways. It depending on how big your venture is.
And second, today there are there are some angel investors available even in India, because I am aware of one, which is the CIO network. They created something called CAM, which is the CIO angel network. So where they identify the potential candidates, where they create some products and innovative solutions. And mostly we see a lot of the solutions coming from artificial intelligence, machine learning, RPA and all other stuff. So that creates a unique market for funding.
Yeah. I mean, of course, you can do debt financing, but debt financing is difficult to get unless you have some sort of record and you have an excellent team, because then you have to prove to the banks, you know, that the people you have on board are excellent, because it's not just the idea. You have to remember that there are three factors that they really consider: is the team, the product, as well as the market.
Okay.
So you have to proving some those three things, especially for new startups, can be quite tricky.
Sir, I can get to that. If I go to any investors, I mean, how do I keep my secrets within the ground level secrets of my service or anything, so that they can't steal my idea and then they can implement that somewhere else?
So this is basically, there is something called confidentiality agreement. Okay, so when you want to go for the pitching, okay, and that's where then what happens, you sign an NDA or a clause agreement which is mutually aligned, and so that your ideas and secrets are not shared beyond those realm of the people.
You can legally actually protect yourself.
There is a legal way to protect
yourself.
And second is, you can also register for the copyright policies. So there are laws governing for these confidentiality and the security and safety of these ideas.
Okay, so then how can you measure the like, I mean, our service can value for or the customer? Like, I want to say that like if I'm giving service for any customers, okay, from sort of customers or something, how can I measure that it may be it may work for 10 to 15 years or something?
If I understand your question, so you want to know, you have created a product or solution and you are giving it to the customer, and you want to measure the success of the product or the quality. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. Super. So see, there is that is number one. What do we want to measure? So that's the first question is it's like as I told about you. What we treasure, we need to measure. So first we need to define what is the metrics we want to measure. So let me give an example. One, you want to measure that your user experience. Now, user experience is a very big topic. So number one is, I give a solution. Is he using that application to decide the business value? So number one is the part. One of the metric can be is the user satisfaction, or the you can create a rating between 1 to 5 to measure that. And second is the what is the value that client has got from the product? Like, they created leads, they created some prospects. Like earlier, before putting the solution, they were using manual or paper based, and they were not able to track the leads. They were not able to track the prospects or client. Now with the automated system, they were able to capture 1,000 leads or 10,000 leads. And out of the leads, how many leads has been converted into the booking? So these are the things which you can work with the client. One is the user satisfaction, and second is the adaptability or adaptation of the system. Okay, this is one of the metrics which I talked about. And the third one, which is all about the user, the user experience. Okay, the user experience is you can talk to you can create some questionnaire and ask the user, hey, how does he feel about the product? How easy to use the product? And second is, how is your customer support responding to the client needs in terms of day-to-day needs, in terms of emergency, in terms of some value added? And the last one, what is that value added you're providing? Is just a basic, or you're providing some value added? So there are well-defined metrics which is available, which you can refer and which you can use it.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Then I would like to ask you, okay, if we get any competitors in our field or niche or something, like I mean, we need to buy them, or we need to compete them, I mean, and get into the war again.
That's a very nice story. Is competitive intelligence. See, I will define this competitor into. See, every industry has a very high competition. Okay. Now, preferably, if you look at your startup phase, if you are creating a niche product using RPA or artificial intelligence or machine learning, there will be hundreds of people who are going to do that. Now, your product and your solution has to be unique to that particular client. You got it. That's more important. And second is, how you create that inclusiveness to that customer will create that bonding and that relationship. That's point number 2. And the point number 3 is what is that value added you're going to bring in that relation, and that will keep you sustained with the client, and it will create a blockers for the competition. Okay, that's the fundamental principle. And the second is if you want to look out and say, okay, I have a product and I have a solution and I want to scale up. Now, one, I can sit and build that solution, or if there is some other company, startup company, which is having a product and solution which will fit on top of my solution, and then you can go for acquisition, or you can go for a co-partnership, because this is the one thing which I see in the market is co-creating value. So there are two startups. Okay, one is having one niche product and another is having another niche product, and both collaborate together to create that unique solution for the client. So that is again gaining a very good momentum in the market.
Yes, thank you, sir. I can get you. Then how can we market our business in a large scale or something? I mean, without having any or something.
No, I couldn't. How can you
market what?
How can you market our business? Like, I mean, if you want to scale up something into a big, larger way, something like if you don't have any fundings or something, how can I market?
Okay, yeah. So today, that's what I'm telling you. Today, there are many free ways of doing the marketing. Okay, there are the traditional ways. I need to get a nice create a nice ad film to create that market. No, today it's a totally a digital platform. There are three ways to do your market and create the USP. One, through your network. Okay, your network is very important when you do a startup company, because that's the fundamental foundation for creating a very nice startup with your network, because you need to have your network. It can be your alumni, it can be your friends, it can be your people who work with you, who have that influence, good experience of working with you or working with any of your product. That's point number one. And second is the using digital platform. Like you can use LinkedIn, you can use Facebook to create that market campaign. And a very simple, free of cost, you can create that market campaign, because the website is traditional, okay? But the most important is today people want dynamic, okay? What is the message you want to convey in 3 minutes? Okay, not more than that. Like if you're, they call it as what you call the traffic light marketing. Like you are stuck in a traffic light, and in the 2 minutes, what is that message you want to convey? So that is the message you need to be, you can use various digital platforms to convey your USP of your product. Okay. And the third one, which is about the, the unventured or unreachable market. And that's where then what you need to do is through the word of mouth or through your channels. So that's where you create your channel. But that third option comes later, because the first option through your network and the second option through your digital channels. When you start building your network, your market campaign, then you start creating partners, you start creating your channels so that you can promote your product, and then you can co-create the value.
Yeah, I mean, just to add to that, I mean, there's so many digital platforms. I mean, you have the whole social media. You can even, I see today that, they are using influencers to even sell, software. So you can imagine, I mean, these influencers, could have a following of 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 10,000, whatever. But of course, it depends how you choose your influencers. But there are various ways. Today, the traditional marketing approach does not necessarily work. Yeah. You really have to utilize the digital skills, the digital technologies that are available to you, either on a social media platform or LinkedIn, professional platforms, or of course, your network is, you have to have a network, and you have to network a lot, because you have to make sure that your message is heard by everybody who matters to it.
And the other one is like, because I am not aware of the background. Yeah. So if you have a startup company, you have a nice product or solution. What's more important is it's through your network or through your connections. So if you reach out to a company and say, okay, guys, look, I have a product and solution. I want to do a POC or a prototype. Right. And then what you do, you need, when you go and see, the one is you may have a good product, but they may not have the need, or they may have a different kind of need. And that's where then the fine tuning happens, so the relationship happens. Because based on your skills, you can go to that customer and say, hey, you have a problem. Okay, you have a, let us take example of a contract management, okay, or billing. So a customer, one of your client is generating 10,000 billing per month. Okay. Now there is some guy who is sitting around 5 people sitting in front of the computer and feeding all that 10,000 billing, which are almost the same standard. Now that's a very unique and potential opportunity for RPA. So what do? You approach the client. You say, hey, this is your current as-is process. Now give me an opportunity. I will automate this process at a very nominal cost. And I will show you a prototype, like how you can automate this 10,000 billing in a matter of minutes. Okay, automated process. Okay, it will capture your billing in an electronic way, and it will process the billing, and it will update into your ERP system with all the business rules, what you want to do using bots and RPA process. When you demonstrate this type of skills to your client, then you get an entry into the organization, then you start scaling up. Am I answering your question?
Sir, I have one more question.
Yeah, in addition to that, I would like to say, you were talking about the competition, right? So how you're going to compete with the product which is already there in the market. What you need to understand is there are sharks, yes, but you have to feel that you are another shark, right? So today's session is supporting everyone to get that mindset to have an innovative idea. So if you have a similar product, how well you stand out from the existing products? What is the innovation that you have put into your new product? Okay, so that is where you stand out, and you should always feel that you're a shark and keep competing with the market with your ideas. Okay, that is the challenge. So with that, I would say, always Vivekananda's quote, that is, arise, awake, stop not until the goal is reached. So you have to be competitive enough to have innovative ideas, fit to the market, feel that you're a shark. Okay,
Yeah.
so the big companies.
Yeah, just to add on to Shobha, you gave a very nice example. I will give you one example is Salesforce. Okay, you go to the market, like let us take SAP. You will have so many people who implement SAP. Okay, now why some people succeed and some people don't succeed? Why? What's the reason? Because there is a product and there's a solution available, and there's a huge competition in the space. Okay, now what is the difference it makes is, what is the domain knowledge you bring to the table? What is the methodology you bring to the table to implement the solution? And what is that unique experience you create with the customer? And what is the project management you bring to the table? So these are the things which is which is also important when you have a competitive product. You have a product which is also done by your competitors. So you have different two sharks. Now, when you have two sharks, then how do I know which is the intelligent shark? The intelligence comes with your domain experience, with your the industry experience, with your unique proposition. This cannot be duplicated by anybody in the world. Your experience cannot be duplicated by anybody. That is yours, and that is where you will bring it to the table to create that persona, to create that brand.
Well
Yes, sir.
said.
Thank you. Sir, I have one more question.
Yep.
Okay.
Sir, actually, I mean, if you directly get into the business or in this kind of field, like how can you manage to, I mean, to improve our skills, something new skills, or how, I mean, how can we explore ourselves? I mean, we don't find time, right? I mean, we can't manage everything, like exploring ourselves and yeah.
Okay.
What is the question?
So let me understand the question. You are saying that you cannot find time to improve your skills in areas of business necessary to make it a success because you are focusing on the technical part of it.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. So you are my brother. Huh? You are my brother in line. Okay. So we're all in the same line. Shobha, am I right? Okay, so
Exactly.
This is a challenge with all techies. Okay, I want to give this feedback to all the techies, including me. Okay, this is a challenge with techies is what we are very passionate and fascinated with technology, but we don't understand. We spend time in knowing what are the emerging technologies, what is it, we get fascinated. But most important, we forget about the other aspects, the business skills, okay, the leadership skills, the soft skills. which is equally important. Okay, we need to take time to spend time and talk about, okay, I have a new technology which is there in the market. Example, artificial and machine learning. And equally, we need to find out how this technology is applied, how this technology is developed. And that is where it's called business analytics skills or business acumen. We need to get that skills. We need to learn that skill. That is one. And the second is industry acumen. Okay, we need to know certain industry. What does FMCG company does? And within FMCG company, what did they do? How they use this RPA tool? How do they use this machine learning? Let us talk about automobile. How do they use this ML or artificial intelligence? We need to learn that skill. We need to acquire that skill. There are plenty of ways to learn. You have internet, you have LinkedIn learning. There are many ways to learn. And the third most important is project management. I would recommend this. Everybody should learn project management because it is not about going and doing a PMI certificate, but at least we should know the art of project management, agile methodology, design thinking. We need to take our time. There are plenty of articles available in the internet and you can learn, and then you can reach out to people like us who can train you. So these are the skills we need to take our time, which then we know we have a technology. And second, we know the business skills, then we know the soft skills, and we know how to apply it. And that will create your persona.
Absolutely. I mean, this is very important to, address the other skills that you require, soft skills, business skills, because it's a whole package, when I mean, especially for students who are going to go out into the world and, companies are looking not just your technical skills, they're looking at your soft skills. How will you fit in the team? How will you be able to contribute? What kind? So once you are a whole package, it makes it easier for you to get a job or, get hired or to the, by the people you want to be hired by.
So let's see, I did a couple of sections to some of the leading IT companies on customer lifecycle management and leadership. So one of the questions when I asked, why technical or developer or technical people, why you guys don't want to learn leadership skill, the business skill? Hey, no, we don't interact with the customer. We are very happy with the backend. We are very good in programming. We are very good in remote monitoring. We are very happy with our job. But they need to understand that whatever these guys are developing, it is used by somebody else at the field, at the customer. Like example, I talked about the mobility application Otis. Okay, my developer sits in India. Okay, they say I don't know what the mechanic is doing. Then what product you will build? So I told them, you need to talk to the mechanic. You need to talk to the supervisor. What is that they are going to use the app? What challenges they will go and face when they go to the job site? So that is the experience. What we do, we are trying to open up in IT companies, and including my team, I'm talking about it, is to tell them, guys, you good technically, you're good, but at the same time, you need to know how to talk to the customer, how to connect with the customer, how to understand the business. These are the skills we need to develop. And I would recommend each and every student here, even if you go for a technical line, please take our time to learn these leadership skills. And whatever skills today we are talking, these are all very strong business skills. This section, the last sections, these are all very powerful concepts. Okay, you got it. And it's all taught in one of the premier schools like Harvard and all. But very fortunate that your institute, along with Shobha, is bringing this insights to all of you. And it's important you learn the skills, take out time, learn, apply, and get that experience.
Yeah, in addition to that, Manjunath, what I would also say is, we have to always upskill. We need to keep learning every day, irrespective of whatever position we hold. So technology is changing. We have to pace with the technology, with the generation. So you need to have someone in your life for mentoring as well. So try reaching out industry experts like maybe Subbuji and Shylesh. They are also mentoring some people. So if you are interested, you can also reach out to get some mentorship. And where you can evaluate yourself and take an opinion and see where you need to upskill, right? So these are very important factors in order to succeed and keep your skills up to date. That's all I would like to say.
Yeah, sure. Just to give what I'm currently doing some couple of mentoring to some of the people. They were doing a back-end job of programming and technical. Today, they had an opportunity. They are being posted overseas in Germany. Okay, so the boss told, okay, guys, we have got a big project. You guys need to manage the project. Okay, now when they start moving out of their comfort zone, then comes then you're going to face the customer directly, and that's where the challenge starts, because they have not been groomed and they have not been got that opportunity to learn, and neither they have invested time. Okay, so that's where I would recommend it's a good time. We are like mentors, so you can reach out to us and we can guide you, we can teach you, we can coach you, whatever we want, we can do it.
Thank you so much, sir. Then, can you suggest me any books about related to business or something?
Related to the business. Okay, what I'll do is, if you can share your email ID, then what we can do is we can recommend some books, and also there are a lot of good learning on LinkedIn. Okay, and there are many websites which gives you learning opportunities on this business acumen.
Just identify the skills you want to learn initially, and then we can access you. If you say you want to learn business skills in a particular area, then we can say this is the recommended thing. But there is, as Subbu says, there's enough material on LinkedIn. There is even some great YouTube videos, you know, in the areas.
Yeah, see, to get started with it, 3 skills. One is design thinking, because that's very relevant for all of us, because that's the most, when you start design thinking, automatically you will understand business, because that is interlinked. So you will understand business, you will understand leadership in that. That's point number 1. And second is the soft skills, which is your presentation, your communication and everything. Because even if you have a startup company, how do you create that elevator pitch? How do you create that connect with the customer? So that's more important, the art of presentation. That's point number 2. And the point number 3 is what you call the customer life cycle or leadership skills you want to call. It's like, how do you connect with the customer? How do you interact with the customer? Or how do you engage with the customer? Then what leadership skills you need to build? So these are the things I would recommend for you to learn. And then automatically you can start building on the top of it.
Yeah, and the other thing is, just adding to that, this continuation is also try and learn public speaking. You know, there are a lot of groups all around India which which are groups which are, basically you can join and you can discuss and talk, because it's very important, because you have to learn how to present your idea to whoever, whether it's your investors, whether it's your clients, whether you must be able to communicate clearly and effectively. So this is very important skill.
Okay. I hope we clarified.
Is that okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for the time.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah,
it's a pleasure.
Any other questions?
Yeah, just to summarize in the end, so we learned, it's like 1.5 hours. It was a packed section. We learned so many concepts on product market fit and everything. So most important, how do you go out and apply this? Okay, that's more, if we have a good learning. So what I would recommend is 3 things. 1, take this, whatever skills today you learn on the product market fit. You go and you apply this, like you take an example of Salesforce, or you take an example of ServiceNow. Okay, these are the 2 companies you can look at it. Okay, and go to their website and visualize. You need to visualize and say, what was the product they created? What was the market, was the need? Okay, and how did they create the market? Create the product to support the market, and what is the pricing model they are having, and what is the strategy they are doing, and how did they go about to the customer to implement the skills, implement the solution. You just take these 2 examples and you start applying this practice. Then tomorrow what you do, you apply to your own product, you apply to your own solution, and apply to your own way. Now coming back to your earlier, your principal sir talked about you as a product. Okay, student. Now let us talk about how do you apply this principle to you as a product. Okay, so now you are a product. Good. So you are an MVP 1 or whatever name you want to give it. Okay, so you learn you have a educational qualification, you have a degree, then you have certain skills, and you have certain technical skills and basics. So now what you need to do, you need to document that. You need to say, I am an MVP 1.0, and this is what is my qualification, this is what is my skills, and this is what is my experience if you did some project. Now let us talk about, you want to brand yourself, you want to create a persona, and you want to market yourself, and you want to position yourself in the market, in the highly competitive job market. So who are your companies? You want to work for an IT company, you want to work for an end user company like us, or you want to start your own company. So 3 domains, okay? 3 verticals. Now, if you want to go for an IT company, let us take example, you want to join Microsoft, you want to join Oracle. Now, what is the role you want to play there? You want to go as a technical developer, project lead, what is that? What is the skill sets they want? What is the experience they want? So you need to create a job profiling of that particular. You don't need to ask any HR guys. You can go to the website, you can find out if I want to apply for a, what do you call a project lead, what skill sets, what are the experience they are looking, what are the skill sets I need. Then you map it with your MVP 1.0. You got it? You know, you have 3 skills. Okay, you map it with the 10 skills what they are asking. Then you build those skills to become MVP 2.0. You got it? So that is how you scale up. So you have MVP 1, you know what is the market position, and then you want to position and brand yourself in the market. So then you become MVP 2.0. Then you join a company. Okay, you join Microsoft, good job, good package, good salary, good travels. So you join. Now you want to scale up within that company, outside that company. Then you say, I want to become MVP 3.0 in another 2 years timeline. So now what is that MVP 3.0? I want to be a project lead managing some 10 projects. Now, what is that experience I need to have? So you define that experience, you define that skill sets. Then you scale up your MVP 2.0 to 3.0. That is how you need to create your life map also, no? That is your professional career map. You start with the MVP, then you start scaling up, and that's how you reach a leadership role. Now, once you reach a leadership role, it doesn't mean that the destiny is reached. And then we redefine the MVP, we redefine the scope, because that's a different league together. So this is how I want to summarize and say that how do you apply your learnings, not just for your product, not just for creating a solution, even to create your own persona of your professional life. Shobha, for you, please.
Yeah, I mean, Subbu said it also, but I mean, you know, it's important that your personal branding. I'll just end with a simple sentence, you know, by one of the WhatsApp founders. I think it's Jan Koum. He says, when life, when he was developing WhatsApp, the product, yeah, he said, when life pushes you hard, sit up, stand up, and push a heck lot harder.
Yep.
And as simple as that. And that's a process. You know, and your mindset should be like that.
Yeah. And the last one, which I want to see, today is a digital world. So it's important to learn digital skills, because if you are learning project management, the traditional way of project management is not going to work now. Okay. The traditional way of developing application is not going to work. It's digital, it's virtual, it's realistic, it's agile. So we need to learn that skills of how you develop an application and deploy digitally, interact digitally, and support digitally. It's a different skill set. It's a different ball game. So this is a very good, unique experience people have to gain. And maybe in coming month, we will talk about digital leadership and transformation. So Shobha, for you, please.
Yeah.
Thank you, Subbu. It was a wonderful session. I think everybody has a very good takeaway today and ponder their thoughts. I would hand over to Nasreen. Maybe we are running over the time.
Yeah, sure. Okay, thank you, Shobha.
So much. Yeah.
So it gives me a great pleasure to convey my heartfelt thanks to our key speakers, Mr. V. Subramaniam and Mr. Shylesh Patel, for spending their valuable time with us and sharing their knowledge with our students. It's like they have become like a family for us with conducting so many webinars. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Nasreen, and thank you to your principal, and thanks to all the professor and students. It's a gratitude of thanks from me, Shylesh, and Shobha for the wonderful opportunities you provide. So we have gained this experience over the past 20, 35 years working with various companies, various process, and this is one small kindness we can do in our life to share this knowledge to all of you, and most important to the students. who, if they can learn and apply this learning and become leaders, maybe better than us in future.
I hope in future also we may collaborate for more such programs. Thank you.
Yes,
sir.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate
I
it.
express my gratitude to Miss Leena and Miss Shobha for supporting us in every aspect. Thank you,
Thank
Shobha
you,
and
Nasreen.
Leena.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nasreen.